One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. Then let me be free. From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart of steel and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow. He takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. A metal mayhem that will never die. With engines roaring, he paves his way. A legend in the making, day by day.
Holy cow, man. We got a lot to discuss this morning. We got a lot to break down this morning. Great to see everyone in the chat, man. Let's get it. All right, as you guys can see from the title up here, Iran war escalates, as well as Trump assassination plot from Iran standpoint. And then Charlie Kirk's case is, well, it's been a week-long ordeal, and we're trying to figure out what's going to happen, if it's going to go forward with him being charged or not. Well, basically tried. But we're going to be discussing a lot of what's going on with Iran. There was a lot of stuff that was going on in the aspect of strikes yesterday, but believe it or not, the United States and Israel as well was not involved in those strikes. They had, they probably knew about it. Obviously they did know about it, but it wasn't them that sent the strikes over there. So we're going to go ahead and break down what I mean by that. But first, remember how we were talking about the 80 plus sites that were struck, and then the very night after that there was 90. So that makes a total combined 170 targets. So we actually have the breakdown of what those 2 days look like from AI Tele. We've used them in multiple videos actually to break down military operations, and they do a very good job of breaking those things down. And then, of course, we're going to be talking about those strikes regards to the IRGC. Arab states launch war in Iran. Now, I'm sure that you guys can guess which states those are, and we're going to get into that here in a moment. Before we do, we're going to be focusing on that a lot today, so I don't want to we're going to get into it here momentarily. Then we have the Kirk murder case. Tyler Robinson's ex-lover reveals new details. And by the way, I have not watched or listened to that exact thing yet. We're going to find that out together. So another thing on that is Tyler Robinson allegedly confessed to an ex-lover about Charlie Kirk shooting. And that's a very important thing, because he's basically saying it wasn't me. I'm the wrong guy, right? You caught the wrong guy. Well, how can you be the wrong guy if you're admitting to, an ex-lover about you shooting this motherfucker? Yeah, that's not how that works. Then we have Maine Democrats scrambled to replace Plattner as dropout deadline looms. And yes, Plattner was that Maine Democrat, I think he was running for the Senate or House, one of the two. Nonetheless, he was running for Congress, and he got, he has sexual allegations against him. He has a couple of other things, and he decided to bow out. So now the Democrats are definitely going to struggle to find somebody to do this election, because, I mean, it's like a week until the actual or week and a half or whatever until they do their primary, but whatever. Then we have some interesting news regards to the Palm Beach Airport is now been renamed as President Donald J. Trump International Airport. So that has been changed. I saw that yesterday on Instagram. I think Trump posted that he was with the new plane at Trump International. And I was like, okay, I didn't know that he had an airport named him after himself in Palm Beach. But then I looked into it and found out, oh, well, they just changed it. Makes sense. Then we have Iran assassination plot targets Trump as, of course, something that has been talked about a lot in the media. And Trump has been talking a lot about it since he went to the NATO summit over there in Turkey. So he's definitely been talking about it a lot in the aspect that, you know, Iran's trying to kill him. He's the number one target for Iran. He's definitely thrown that rhetoric around. And if that all those kind of things are true, which I do have some video for you guys on that, which it is true from what at least what I've saw. Yeah, that can be an escalation of war. Now, you got to also understand you're in the middle of war and you're killing or taking out their people, their IRGC members, their infrastructure, their military operations, stuff like that. So, of course, hearing that is not actually surprising to me, right? And then we have some crazy news that just broke out about 47 minutes ago. Spain wildfire. So far, 12 are dead and 23 are missing. Now, it doesn't say exactly how many, first of all, if it's contained at all, and also how big the wildfire is. So I looked in the details. Unfortunately, it doesn't say it. So quickly, before we get into the madness, let's go ahead and do our call to actions, and then we'll get right into the madness of Iran and everything else that's going on here. Make sure you guys hit that like button, double tap that screen. If you guys are on the vertical side, I very much appreciate it. And it's free to do so. You know what else is free is hitting the subscribe button. This is what we do Monday through Friday. And then, of course, we have members only on Saturday morning where we don't discuss any of this shit. We have a good freaking time. Now, speaking of members, please consider becoming a member starting only at $4.99 a month, making sure we're not breaking the bank out there with anybody. But check it out. This is what allows us to be on these airwaves as well as have these lights on. So thank you guys for becoming members and staying members. Little side note, make sure you guys follow my Instagram at BallValveTV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my life, but as well as the show, Millennial Food Time, breaking news, as well as politics, all that great shit, man. It's a great way to get a hold of me one-on-one, and we have a Discord server for all of the community. Make sure you guys go in the video description down below, and that's where the invite link is. And last but not least, of course, all super chats, super stickers, gifted memberships, and membership signups are, of course, all going to be presented live and shouted out onto the show. But if you guys like to skip that YouTube 30% brutal cut that they take from your hard-earned cash, we have these platforms that are scrolling around the screen at any time. You can donate to those, and I get 100% of the proceeds. And, of course, we'll read out loud anything that comes our way, just like a normal super chat. I've got my emails, always be scanning right now. So, all right, good morning to all you legends, man. We got over 100 people in here between both the live streams. Make sure you guys hit that like button. We got David coming in hot this morning saying the thumbnail rocks, Mr. Ball. Well, I very much appreciate it. I put a lot of freaking time into these thumbnails. We got Two Wheel Jesus as well. Good morning, kind sir. We got Tommy as well as Easy Frank. Good morning. Good morning. We got Critters as well. Good morning to you. And we got Pops, especially him and Mountain Woman. Always appreciate you guys as well. We got Brother Kirk. Yes, sir. We got Rebecca up there in Canada as well. Good morning to you. We got Brother PJ and Charlie Rose. Good morning. We got Motobomb, Virginia. I missed you guys. By the way, I know you don't do a live on Friday, but usually Sick Bastard, someone does a live in the morning, but nope, not today. We got Steve Posey. Good morning to you, kind sir. Always appreciate you. Brother Chrono. Yes, sir. We got Texas Gidget in the building. Good morning to you. We got No Grow as well. All right, guys, we're about to get into the madness. First, we're going to start off with U.S. strikes, massive 170 targets, and Iran's counterattack is actually explained in this. Now, it's going to explain the whole reason why the escalation happened in the first place. Basically, the three ships that were targeted by Iran were taking the Oman/United States route in the Strait of Hormuz. And the way that Iran sees it and the IRGC sees it, if you're not taking their designated shipping route, well, then don't sail at all, because we will handle that as. And that's exactly what happened on those three ships that got attacked. And now we escalated into this point, right? So anyways, so this explains the 2 nights, because the first night was 80 targets. Then the night after that, which was it was yesterday, we reported on that, of the 90 targets. So 90 plus 80 equals 170.
How did the U.S. and Iran restart this war, triggering one of the largest offensives with 170 targets hit? While Iran struck back at U.S. air bases using layered drone and missile swarms, the Zagros Mountains serve as Iran's ultimate launching pad, allowing their missiles to reach Kuwait and Bahrain in a matter of minutes. So,
What's up, Rabbit of Chaos, by the way? Good morning to you.
how is the U.S. strategy different? Well, the IRGC had been attacking commercial shipping directly from the coastline. So the U.S. went straight for the source, wiping out the launch pads to stop the drone attacks on container ships. But what specific Iranian targets did the U.S. hit? This inferred...
Right, and those were the things that we were looking for immediately was what were they hitting? And as you guys can see, they brought out some batteries here for their launchers, as well as, their Mosquito fleet. And there was much more that actually happened, of course.
Footage shows an Iranian launcher taking a direct hit from an anti-radiation missile. And in this next video, you can see defensive earthworks hiding a hardened command bunker. A standard missile won't do the...
So anytime that you see the unclassified imaging, that is the actual strikes that they're showing. And then they use their animations and all that stuff to describe what's happening. Of
trick
course.
Here, you need bunker busters. To crack a target like this, F-15.
Now, those GBU-31s or whatever, those are amazing munitions. Very small, compact, and you can hit multiple targets with that thing. It's amazing how it will lock on, and it's very, very a cool munition that we have.
Strike Eagles deliver massive 2,000-pound GBU-31 with penetrating warheads.
Yes.
So how did the U.S. pull off the largest attacks on Iran with 170 targets hit in just 2 days? Well, the U.S. strategy is dismantling the coastal ports of Bushehr, Bandar Abbas, Sirak, Konarak, Chabahar, and Karg Island. The first wave, slicing...
What's up, TNT? Good morning.
In the west, the strikes began in the west at Bushehr. The tip of the spear belonged to Stealth. The first wave...
Now, this is in the first wave of attacks. Then we had some attacks that happened yesterday from the Arab states. Israel and the United States were not involved in those and declined to take any responsibility for it because Kuwait and Bahrain were sending out some of their munitions into Iran. And we're going to talk about the destruction that they caused yesterday.
Slicing the west.
After this, of course.
The strikes began in the west at Bushehr. The tip of the spear belonged to Stealth, clearing the corridors for heavy payloads delivered by B-2 Spirit bombers and F-15 Strike Eagles. The strikes began...
What's up, Carrie? Good morning.
In the west at Bushehr, targeting the surface-to-air missile batteries and coastal surveillance networks guarding the region's critical infrastructure.
Yeah, TNT, there's no doubt about that now. It's been like that probably for you and your family for a minute now.
With the radar shield pierced, the assault moved south to Bandar Abbas. From standoff ranges, U.S. aircraft deployed AGM-158 cruise missiles, obliterating...
And now, yes, the B-2 bomber was escorted through basically on the first night of the strikes along the coast of the strait right there. And that's where you guys can see them doing their multiple attacks.
Command and control networks. At the Bandar Abbas waterline, over 60 heavily armed Tariffs speed.
Yes, we call those the Mosquito fleet. Okay, those are the smaller skiff size, even down, up to medium-sized vessels, boats. Got some sort of munition on it, whether it be turrets or whatever the case is. But it's designed to overwhelm the target, whatever the opposition is. And yes, so Bandar Abbas is kind of home to where their Mosquito fleet usually sits.
Boats prepared to swarm.
But we've hit a lot of their Mosquito fleet. We've obviously hit 159 of their actual Navy, right? That's at the bottom. Now we're taking out what the Mosquito fleet is, which is a problem.
In the Strait of Hormuz, guarded by Zu-23 autocannons on the piers. As American F-15 Strike Eagles approached, the manual anti-aircraft guns fired blindly into the night, aiming at ghosts. From miles above and safely out of range, the jets released a swarm of GBU-39 small-diameter bombs. Because these glide bombs...
It's funny because the GBU-31, I was getting confused with this exact munition. This is the one that's an interesting lock-on.
Bombs are so compact.
Yes.
A single F-15 could assign a unique GPS coordinate to every single boat and gun emplacement in one devastating pass. In minutes, the harbor was reduced to a burning graveyard, completely neutralizing the swarm before a single boat could reach open water. What you are looking at is the actual video released by CENTCOM. These are the fast attack boats.
Now, those images we showed on the first day of the strike. So what would that be? Tuesday? It was like Tuesday. Yeah.
Mainly used to harass commercial shipping.
Tuesday.
And out of nowhere, they are struck by a missile. If you freeze the frame, you can actually see the missile just before impact, and it is probably a Hellfire missile. It's a weapon that locks onto the infrared heat signature of the boat, making it purpose-built for destroying fast-moving targets. Further east at the port city of Sirak, the mission shifted to neutralizing immediate threats to commercial shipping. The U.S. dropped 500-pound GDMs using the F-15 Strike Eagle on hardened military logistics infrastructure and coastal surveillance assets tucked into the rugged coastline. By destroying these,
whether that be batteries, whether that be drone launchers,
launch sites, the U.S. effectively degraded Iran's ability to enforce a blockade on the 21-mile-wide maritime choke point. Then there is Konarak and Chabahar. Deep into the east, the offensive didn't stop at the Strait of Hormuz. It extended deep into the Gulf of Oman, striking the southern port cities of Konarak and Chabahar in Sistan and Balochistan province.
Yes, and those two got struck last night as well.
Jets dropped GBU-39s as explosions tore through missile sites. By eliminating these specific facilities, the U.S. removed the threat of loitering munitions that had been heavily utilized in previous attacks on merchant vessels. Nearby, an airport runway in Iranshar was cratered, with Tomahawk cruise missiles fatally striking a firefighter on the ground and completely crippling the region's logistical air support. But how do most people actually make sense of these infrared videos?
This is what we need.
What you're looking at here is an Iranian missile launcher, and in just a few seconds, it gets hit by an anti-radiation missile. Let's freeze the frame right here and slide the infrared footage aside. That Iranian launcher is part of a Baver missile system.
Right there.
And the weapon the U.S. used to take it out is likely an AGM-88 HARM. The initial blast from the missile, combined with the launcher's own rocket fuel cooking off, is exactly what creates that massive fireball. Well, this rugged surrounding terrain, and what a...
Well, you know, that's something that it kind of comes down to passion as well for doing what I do, is objectively just look for facts, right? And finding the reports that are bullshit, which are most of them, and then finding out objectively what is happening. Usually what I go for is like on the ground stuff, right? I'm not going based off of what governmental officials say. I always go off of like what CENTCOM is saying or any type of, IRGC, whatever. And even then there's some bullshit, but you got to decipher what is true and what's not.
Appear to be defensive earthworks perfectly match the profile of a hardened command and control bunker or a localized coastal surveillance node. Well, to take out these kind of...
What's up, Miss Lotus, by the way? And steak and cheese. I like that to make it sound like steak and cheese. Word up. Absolutely. Light up.
Targets, an AGM missile will not do the trick. You need mid-level bunker buster bombs to hit the targets. F-15 Strike Eagles or stealth bombers delivered this GBU-31 with BLU-109. These are 2,000-pound penetrating weapon. In the third video, these iron rails are actually the drone launching platforms of the Iranian guards. Here is the 3D model we created. As you can see, it looks similar.
So those are what the launchers do actually look like right there. I mean, you can see them in previous videos as well of how they look, the actual drone launchers. And they're fairly easy, smaller equipment than to like those big batteries or, anti-defense missiles and all that kind of stuff.
And the missile
and also, I mean, for them, a lot of those batteries are to launch just ballistic missiles in general.
Hit it was a JDAM bomb. As you can see, this is a stationary
What's up, brother? Straight Jacket, my man. Good
platform,
morning.
hence the use of this kind of ammunition. Moving forward, this is probably a makeshift runway, and the target is the supply equipment's or munitions storage. On the next video is an advanced Iranian drone, probably the Mohider 6 drone, looking at the environment. A flat...
Now, I really don't know much about these drones. I know more about the Shahed or Shahed drones that Iran produces, but I'm sure Iran produces these as well. I don't know.
Paved surface with straight edges. This strike is happening directly on an airfield tarmac or runway. To hit an exposed, parked aircraft on a flight line with this level of precision, creating a localized explosion that destroys the target without necessarily cratering the entire runway underneath it. The U.S. uses precision-guided bombs, GBU-39 small-diameter bomb. This 250-pound glide bomb is the most likely candidate. The crucial detail in this infrared video is the reflection. The two intense white heat signatures.
Yeah, you can actually see the one coming in right before. You'll see it here in a second.
The explosions or burning targets have bright vertical columns stretching downward. This phenomenon happens when intense heat reflects off the surface of water. Because these targets are sitting on the water, this footage represents the strikes on the IRGC Terra-class fast attack craft idling in the naval base,
which are considered a part of their Mosquito fleet.
Basin of Bandar Abbas, or along the coastal waters of the Strait of
What's up, Road Reality? Good morning to you, kind sir.
Hormuz, before they could deploy for a swarm attack. The weapon used GBU-39 SDB or AGM-65 Maverick. To hit multiple small mobile speedboats clustered together on the water, the U.S. relies on highly precise, low-collateral munitions. But how does Iran fight back? But Tehran's response was swift, calculated, and aimed not at the U.S. mainland, but at
our bases.
At its regional hosts.
Right, and the main ones that have taken a lot of heat is Bahrain and Kuwait. They both have taken in steady fire without responding and letting the United States respond. Well, yesterday, those two countries right there, Kuwait and Bahrain, they both got involved and started attacking Iran without, the United States backup or without Israel or any of that. They did their own attack yesterday, and it was fairly brutal.
IRGC.
And we're going to get into that here soon.
He launched a retaliatory wave of drones and missiles directly into Bahrain and Kuwait. In Bahrain, they aimed for the facilities at Jafar and Sheikh Isa, home to the U.S. Navy's 5th Fleet headquarters. This is the very command hub that coordinates the destroyers and submarines launching the Tomahawks. To bypass the world's most advanced air defense network, the IRGC relies on saturation and precision ballistics. Instead of fighting for air superiority, they overwhelm American hubs like Ali Al Salem Air Base in Kuwait,
of course,
and the 5th Fleet headquarters in Bahrain through sheer numbers. The operation coordinates from the rugged Zagros Mountains. Mobile transporter erector launchers emerge from hidden underground tunnels, fire their payloads, and retreat back into cover within minutes to evade satellite detection. The strike hits in overlapping waves. First, massive swarms of low-flying Shahed 136 kamikaze drones flood the airspace.
Now, those are the ones that we all kind of know. Iran not only makes those, but they also sell them to Russia and shit like that.
These cheap loitering munitions bleed the defense grid dry, forcing U.S. THAAD and its batteries to exhaust their costly interceptors on low-value targets.
What's up, brother TVT? Good morning.
This is exactly how Iran would strike U.S. allied bases in places like Kuwait. For context, Kuwait sits just 150 miles, about 200.
I've played the game Risk, but I'm going to be 100% honest. I suck at it because it was too complex for me at the time. I think when I actually played it, I was a young teenager. And I think it was just too much for me at the time to really grasp. But yeah.
140 kilometers from the nearest Iranian coastline. This proximity makes it one of the most accessible targets for a strike against a U.S. ally in the region. Because the American-operated Ali Al Salem Air Base is so heavily fortified with Patriot missiles, presents a much harder target. However, even a high target value has its breaking point defenses, meaning an attacker still has to launch in massive volumes to ensure a successful strike. To do this, Iranian forces fired more than 30 Fata ballistic missiles, accompanied by a swarm of Shahed kamikaze drones. This saturation strategy worked perfectly against the heavily defended base by flooding the airspace with multiple threats at once.
Which is super easy to do for Iran because, it's so simple for them to just angle their fucking ballistic missiles at, a certain location that doesn't move right there from mainland. And then, of course, the same thing with their drones. Just start launching them. Just overwhelm the shit out of them.
Once they overwhelmed the limited number of Patriot
and they do end up getting fucking hit.
Batteries stationed there. The defense systems managed to intercept many of the incoming missiles,
but not all of them.
That is the
it's not an Iron Dome, and even the Iron Dome you can slip through. You can slip shit through if you overwhelm the defenses.
Brutal reality of a saturation attack. If even just 4 ballistic missiles slip through the net, the devastation upon impact is catastrophic. But why did Iran fire on those ships in the first
What did they raid us this morning, Kurt? You gotta let me know.
place, reigniting this entire war? Well, it all started when Iran tried to set new rules for ships sailing through the Strait of Hormuz. So, what route are cargo ships actually supposed to follow? Well, that's the ultimate dilemma. Right now, commercial captains are caught between 2 completely conflicting sets of orders. On one side, you have...
Okay, so this is the very, very important thing that I was explaining on the diamond effect and also what I explained on our own show here. Okay, so the 2 different shipping lanes is there's actually 3 shipping lanes, but they only ever show 2, and I'm going to explain why. So the red shipping line on this graph right here is Iran's shipping route that they want the ships to go through, okay? And there's a reason why it wants to go through here. Because it allows, it actually, they didn't even put this line correctly where the actual line is. It actually goes through that very small island and the big Kesem Island so that they can collect tolls. Here, I'll actually pull up the real map of that real quick, and then I'll continue explaining.
You have the United Nations and the Western allies telling ships to use a newly established southern evacuation corridor, a path that safely hugs the coastlines of the UAE and Oman. The other side, you have Iran-Tehran demands that all maritime traffic travel strictly through their designated northern choke points. The IRGC has made it absolute. They should use the Tehran-approved transit lanes or don't sail at all. They've issued a blunt warning to the entire shipping industry. Any vessel caught taking alternative routes, especially that UN corridor down near Oman, will be stripped of its safety guarantee and treated as an active target. Which brings us to the ever-lovely. Why did this massive container ship end up in Iran crosshairs? Because her captain took a gamble. The ship was deliberately hugging the southern Omani shoreline, trying to use the UN safe passage to slip out of the Gulf. But to Iran, bypassing their checkpoints wasn't just a detour. It was a direct challenge to their sovereignty over the strait.
Okay, so this is the best one I can show. And yes, and they finally did show on that one right here, where I just paused it. At the very tip top, that's going in between that small island and the bigger Kesem Island. So let me quickly move this and bring this up for us. Okay, this is the best one I can find right now. Okay, so this is what the actual shipping lane that they want for inbound and outbound for Iran's standpoint. Okay, so the green is when they're coming in into the strait, they would come in, and then basically if they got precedence of being able to do this after the 60-day MOU when it was in effect, that, you know, this is, you got to think they planned this out. So if they could get away with doing this, then when the 60 days is up, this is how they would designate being able to force these ships to pay tolls. So that's the inbound and outbound. But anyways, real quick, let me go ahead and show you guys what I mean by this. Hold on here. Let me go back to that video. Okay. So the 2 shipping lanes that are shown in this whole thing is showing the United States and Oman shipping route, which is down that lower, route right here is where the United States and Oman have agreed that this is the designated shipping route for all ships going in and out. Well, the 3 ships that were attacked on Tuesday or whatever it was this week was because they were taking this exact shipping route and they got caught right around here. So I don't know if you guys can see my mouse, but just south of I guess that would be east of the strait there. And they got all hit right there. One of them being a Qatari LNG ship as well. So it was a big deal. And then of course the United States responded to that. And that's what you have seen. That's why the escalation of this war happened. So let me skip back to where we're
treated as an active target. Which brings us to the ever-lovely. Why did this massive container ship end up in Iran crosshairs? Because her captain...
That was the one that got struck like a week and a half ago.
Took a gamble. The ship was deliberately hugging the southern Omani shoreline, trying to use the Yemen safe passage.
What's up, Joker? My man, good morning.
To slip out of the Gulf. But to Iran, bypassing their checkpoints wasn't just a detour. It was a direct challenge to their sovereignty over the strait. Tehran decided to make an example of them. And that is where all hell broke loose. Click the video on your screen to see
how did the CIA, because we always appreciate their insight and the way that they break shit down. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into something interesting about yesterday and the strikes that were happening in regards to the new strikes. Well, the new strikes were not ordered from or done by the United States or Israel. It was actually done by Bahrain and Kuwait. So let's go ahead and bring this up and watch this for a second here. Oops, I don't know what's happening here. There we go.
Yes, let's see if you can guess which countries are a little bit angry. First, we're going to go to our 2C TV map to show you what's been...
So these strikes that he's about to show you is the strikes that Bahrain and Kuwait combined basically hit.
Going on. First, we're going to go to the southwestern parts of the country in Ahvaz.
What's up, brother? So loud, my man. Good morning.
The border near Iraq. It's right up here. So that's Ahvaz. And we've just had... so I'm going to take you through the timeline of what actually occurred. Because there was...
Yeah, because that was the first area that were notified with... you know, explosives sounding things. They didn't know exactly what happened. And at first, they actually reported it as a gas leak, which is interesting. And then had to quickly change after they reported it being a gas leak that it was actually an attack. And they actually killed an IRGC officer. You'll see here soon.
Was an update that there was an explosion. First, there were speculations that there was a strike, and everybody said, oh, it's the US military launching strikes in Ahvaz again. I couldn't find any evidence of strikes because I couldn't see, there was no evidence of the US Air Force flying around that area earlier on.
Then, oh man, VPS, you've already missed a huge breakdown this morning, but welcome in. Hopefully you're enjoying the morning, enjoying your Felony Friday. I definitely know that
we discovered this was in fact a different type of explosion. It wasn't a strike, airstrike. Well, then we got the update that Ali Reza Khodadadi, who is the advisor to the provincial contract, basically this is the Valley Asr part of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps in Ahvaz in the southwest, was the target of assassination. Now,
right. So the originally they were saying it was an explosion. They heard an explosion, then it was reported as a gas leak, but quickly changed.
The initial update from the Islamic Republic, what do you think they said? Because they knew that this wasn't an airstrike. Otherwise, they couldn't really deny it. They said, gas leak. The initial reaction, which has now been...
Yeah, by the way, we've got well over 200 people in here between both the live streams. Make sure you guys hit that like button, double tap that screen if you're on the vertical side. You don't have to like it for what is craziness around this globe, but you guys can like it for me and what we do here on Insane Wheels. So thank you for that.
Denied. The fire department in Ahvaz said tonight's explosion was caused by a city gas leak in a two-story residential building in the Hasai Rabat. I don't know this one. I'm not really familiar with the district in Ahvaz. But the problem with this was that they had to quickly change because,
of course,
all these residential buildings.
That once they realized, oh shit, they just assassinated one of our officers.
Near Ahvaz, a lot of them are basically modern buildings, and you don't really get gas leaks. It's just very, very random that we're getting so much gas leaks. Then we discovered that this was a targeted assassination. We don't know about the condition and well-being of that IRGC official, but Chabahar was also a target for strikes. Again, people thought that this was the US military. The US military denied it. Let's go to Chabahar.
Now, don't get it twisted. Even though we didn't conduct those strikes, I can tell you with the utmost certainty that the United States did absolutely know about the attack before it happened. I can guarantee it. Nothing goes in and out without the United States knowing at this point.
Again, for those who are not necessarily familiar, just as a reminder to show you
So that was where the very first report was during this day, yesterday.
Where this part is, it's actually in the southeastern part of Iran, right down here. We had a number of explosions, which again, we can now say that according to the Islamic Republic state media, Kuwait and
what's up, brother Beaker? Good morning.
Bahrain are
Happy
responsible.
Friday.
Now, if that is the case, of course, the Kuwait from here, Bahrain from here. We do know that the Arab states have targeted.
Now, those are the two locations that were targeted the days prior by the United States. They also struck this area right down here in the south part where it goes all the way past into the Gulf of Oman, basically.
Other areas, but in terms of Chabahar, this is obviously coming from the Islamic Republic state media, but the Americans have denied the Chabahar strikes. The Israelis have denied, of course, saying that we're not involved in this one in the southeast. The Americans have hit Chabahar last night quite a lot, but tonight it was the Arab states. But going to quickly Mashhad in the northeastern part of Iran, which is located right up here.
Now, this is not. There's multiple areas that were hit, but one of the most interesting spots that were hit, he's yet to even explain.
Tonight we've had the body or the empty box of Ali Khamenei being moved all the way from Karbala in Iraq to Mashhad, from the left side to obviously the northeastern parts of Iran. The funeral was slightly disrupted as we just had a massive shooting and a targeted attack on the ground. The Immortal Guard of Iran are being accused of carrying out these attacks, but there are also other groups, ethnic groups in the eastern parts of Iran that could be responsible. But a number of IRGC Basij forces members were targeted, and 3 were confirmed killed at one checkpoint. So there were checkpoints across this.
Okay, we're going to fast forward a little bit here because we're going to get into relevant stuff with the United States and also these strikes again.
Mojtaba Khamenei did not turn up, despite promises that he's going to show up. He's going to make a surprise appearance, like his
regards to the funeral.
Taylor Swift. He's going to jump out. So he's going to take off the turban, and the hair was going to go. It's going to be great. We're going to have a fan, just like proper, like Madonna. But the IRGC told us that they advised this supreme leader, the cardboard supreme leader, against attending the funeral of his own father. All the other sons of Ali Khamenei were there. The rest of the leadership of the Islamic regime were there. So apparently it was safe for them to be there. But for the one-legged Gayatollah, it wasn't necessarily safe. So
Gayatollah he used. Oh my God, that's hilarious. One-legged Gayatollah. Listen, don't go after the one-legged motherfuckers. Just, it is what it is, but that is hilarious. Gayatollah.
I do believe that the IRGC were absolutely correct to advise a non-existent, invisible leader to not turn up, because if he turns up, nobody's going to be able to see him. It's just air. So that was a good advice, and he's taking a nap tonight while his dad, who was barbecued, is being buried. We're going to go back to the videos this time around the Bushehr in the...
Okay, so quickly, it's going to be important for us to get into... hold on, he's getting back into the strikes here.
That occurred was the CNN.
So we're up there in Mashhad, up here. That's where he was showing that actually there was a lot of strikes that were conducted up there.
Isolated incident. And it's a gas leak in the southwest, and isolated incidents in the northeast. We have also had a number of explosions near Bushehr. So we have an air defense activity in Bushehr, but a very interesting location, not that one, interesting location tonight, deep into the heart of Iran, Kerman, right there.
Yep.
It's this.
Now, we have conducted strikes in Kerman before. We did that in the original strikes that we did, 2 months ago or whatever it was?
This area, which has been hit before, but is way outside of the coastal zones that have been mostly the targets for the Americans and obviously the Arab states. But Kerman is getting hit. We also obviously did have Iran Shah at the airport late last night, which we reported earlier on, that was hit. The United States military quickly clarified that they were not involved in these strikes. Although obviously, if the Arab states like Bahrain or Kuwait are carrying out these sort of...
And look at that live view from Mashhad, Iran. That's that area that got struck a lot. during yesterday. That's the city. It's actually quite beautiful.
Attacks, they will notify a U.S. Central Command because CENTCOM are there in the region. They have to monitor everything.
Yes, exactly what I was telling you guys is anything that's going in and out of these countries, such as any type of munitions, the United States knows about it. So yes, the United States was not a part of these strikes or attacks from the Gulf states, but they absolutely, I can tell you with certainty, knew about it and what cleared it for them to do it.
Whatever's coming out of Iran, whatever's going into Iran, and they obviously the United States Air Force are flying around all the time to monitor the situation. The Arab states will have to notify them, will have to get the green light from the Americans in order to do it. So this isn't really the Americans saying, "Oh, we are innocent, we don't know what's going on." They know what's going on. They're just saying that, "Oh yeah, this time it."
Hell yeah, Kurt. We always have a fucking good ass time on members only. We don't discuss any of this crazy shit, and I know that I say that because it's very, very fucking true. I say it all the fucking time when promoting members only. But we totally react to like funny shit, craziest shit, you name it. We're doing like big collage reactions and stuff, and a lot of hangout type style. It's good times. It's good times. It's still a show, of course, but it's more laid back, us having a good time.
Wasn't us, it was somebody else, basically. Look at the Arabs. We also have the Islamic Republic's official news agency saying that apparently a naval facility of the IRGC has been attacked again, this time in a different location. Where are we talking about? I'm just going to get the confirmation of the location because I think... oh yes, we are.
Hell yeah, Beaker, my man, coming in hot. By the way, becoming a YouTube member. Let's fucking go. Becoming an Insane Wheels member, man. I can't thank you enough for hanging out with us and as well as supporting out, man, on the membership level. That's what allows us to do this. No, I'm not joking. If I relied on like donations to do this, I wouldn't. It wouldn't work. You know what I mean? This is the way that we fund what we're doing. So thank you very much for that, Beaker. It goes a long way. Here we go.
Not far from Chabahar. This is in same province, the Sistan and Baluchistan. I think this is in Konarak. Yes.
Oh, you renewed
so if we quickly go back to this. In the southeastern parts of Iran, next to Chabahar, we have had missile attacks in Konarak as well.
So let me bring that back a little bit. So that's the two locations in the very south that were struck by the United States in the days prior, and then also the Arab states also just struck that.
Next to Chabahar, we have had missile attacks in Konarak as well, hitting the IRGC Navy. Again, not the Americans or the Israelis. So this is again the Islamic Republic state media called it enemy.
Oh, you know what, Virginia Chaos? I do suppose that we got to snack on that big ass sandwich at some point.
Man, motherfuckers talk all the shit they want. But you see me, I'm sitting up here snacking on this big ass sandwich, not getting a fuck. Kiss my dick, motherfucker.
Shit. All right, back to this.
Enemy. It's like the Daleks from Doctor Who. The enemy. Exterminate. But there is an update coming in. Just been trying to verify this over the last few minutes. I think we can now report this.
Yep, this is a big deal, what he's about to report.
Yeah. Okay, good. Another IRGC member. Ladies and gentlemen, breaking news on 2CTV. Once again, another IRGC commander has been eliminated in Shiraz. Earlier tonight, around 7 p.m. local time.
So one of the Arab states struck him, and this is the one where the first reports were. This, I believe, is the man that they were discussing at that first explosion sound, and then they said it was a gas leak. He was assassinated.
We've had a number of missiles that hit the city of Shiraz.
And by the way, we got Mama Iron Ranger in here. Good morning to you, by the way. Good morning.
Brigadier General Ibrahim Mortazavi Nesb has been killed in the latest round of attacks on the Islamic occupation terrorist bases. So that's now been claimed, and I think this would probably warrant some sort of retaliation tonight on neighboring countries. But again, the Islamic Republic only managed to hit 2 areas in Bahrain. Was it Bahrain or Kuwait? Bahrain last night.
Here, Pops, I got you.
Why are you gay? You are gay.
Shit.
They also targeted Jordan and Kuwait and other places, and Qatar. They also hit Qatar, but they didn't actually hit it. Everything was intercepted. I think a statement coming in from the deputy governor of Bushehr from the IRGC side. Before we get to that, a couple of things here. Dagenham Dave says, gas.
All right, let's go ahead and bring this up where I wanted to specifically show this right here.
Away $100 million reward for whoever manages to take out President Trump. Let's go to the Islamic Republic state media with English subtitles.
این پلاکاردایی که دستتون گرفتید تو تشییع از آقا چیه؟
معنیش گفته که هر کس ترامپو بکشه 100 میلیون دلار جایزه به این هشتگ مراجعه کنه مشخص میشه.
الان امروز شما اومدین تو تشییع رهبر شهید انقلاب
Real quick, those signs read $100 million or 100 million reward, hashtag kill Trump, Netanyahu, Pete Hegseth, and Dane Kane as well.
اسلامی ترامپ هم تهدید کرده، جنگ هم تقریبا از دیشب آغاز شده. نمیترسین؟
به هر حال برای آقامون باید می اومدیم و ما ملت امام حسینیم.
شما چطور نمیترسین امروز تشییع حضور دارین؟
نه نمیترسیم. برای چی بترسیم؟ بیاد ما چی میترسیم؟ اگه نبود این همه آدم برای چی نمیترسه؟ معلومه ما نمیترسیم.
بچه مشهد ترسمر خالیش نمیره.
مشهدی هستین شما درسته؟
بله.
اگه یه پیام از رهبر انقلاب یادت باشه الان میخوای برامون بگی چیه؟ کدوم پیامشه؟
مثل منی و مثل او بیعت نخواهد کرد.
And they, poor kid, he put him on the spot. He was like, yeah, so you like the Supreme Leader who just died? Yes. Do you remember one of his messages? You know, just a quote. Give us your favorite song from the last album. He's like, yeah, luckily he remembered.
Yeah, I was about to say, imagine if you didn't remember, you know, and you got caught in that. Because they asked him, you know, like, what's one of your favorite quotes from the guy, you know?
Imagine if you didn't remember. Imagine if it was a fake supporter. It was like, yeah, you know, everything he wrote, everything he said was perfect. But while these guys were doing their nonsense, but actually one of the things I really appreciated was the fact that they made a good bit of effort. I'm going to put it back on because if you look at the signs that they are holding,
we already read it, and we don't need now. One other thing that needs to be reported on regards to this whole thing:
video footage of what's left of the tower. It doesn't look good, does it? So we don't know exactly if people were inside. I'm assuming they were, because that's literally their job, and so that's gone. The right-hand side of it, that's where obviously they were mostly based. The actual control room, although the tower was not brought down. So I'll give the score for this airstrike by the Americans 7 out of 10.
And that was what the Americans had hit.
It did well enough damage. It probably eliminated those who were inside the room.
Not the Arab states.
But didn't bring it down. So 7 out of 10 U.S. Central Command. But the Americans have now also said that we are preparing for weeks of strikes in Iran. We are ready for this scenario. Everything we need is already in place. Which means that by tomorrow morning, we should expect a ceasefire extension. Usually when the Americans say, we're going to go for weeks and weeks, that means tomorrow Pakistan and Qatar will...
I don't think so this time.
Broker another ceasefire, which is, you know, still largely...
Which will happen. The ceasefire will happen, absolutely, to where they come back to the table and please stop hitting us kind of thing. We'll do... And then once the strikes stop happening, then they get lackadaisical, then they play their dirty games. It's the same old rigmarole, back and forth. It's just a big circle.
Peaceful, but it still involves shooting and strikes and drones and missiles. So don't be surprised if we get another short-term ceasefire later tonight or maybe tomorrow morning, based on what the U.S. officials are saying. We also received an update from both the Americans and the Israelis that the Prime Minister of Israel and the President of the United States had a phone call as part of the... Obviously,
not surprised by that. They have phone calls all the time. All right, we're going to move on. We have to. We got a lot of shit to get through. Unfortunately, we just don't have the time. All right, let's get into Charlie Kirk's case here a little bit. We're not going to, you know, stay super on this thing, but we are going to report what is being put out there. Quickly, this morning, or yesterday, I mean, the Kirk murder case, Tyler Robinson's ex-lover reveals new details. Now, this is kind of an interesting ordeal where supposedly Robinson told this ex-lover that he did do the killing of Charlie Kirk. So this is the new testimony that they're putting out there. It's a whole long testimony. We're not going to play this whole thing, okay? We're going to play maybe a minute, okay? And then we're going to get into the specifics of that exact thing that I'm just showing you that it happened nonetheless. That's it. Hold on.
So in order to do that, I need to place you under oath and also give you an admonition about false statements, okay? First, you do solemnly swear or affirm that the evidence you shall give in.
Of course.
And
so that's a dude. That's a dude right there, by the way. That's his ex-lover. One of his ex-lovers, I guess.
Notify the statements you are about to make may be presented to a man.
But I do have a question.
Why are you gay? You are gay.
Just asking. I'm just asking the question.
Magistrate or judge in lieu of your sworn testimony at a preliminary examination. Any false statement you make and that you do not believe to be true may subject you to criminal punishment as a Class A misdemeanor. Understand that?
Yes.
It potentially could be used as for punishment as a higher offense as obstruction of justice. In addition, I just want to make sure that our recording here is clear that you've also been given a federal agreement and a state agreement granting you immunity from prosecution for materials that you discuss now. You understand that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. First, we're going to cover some of the things that you've already talked about, but to make it as part of this record. First, what's your name?
Full name with middle name or just first and last?
First and last is fine.
Okay, my name is Lance Twiggs.
Lance Twix.
And do you know Tyler Robinson?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do.
And this is the same Tyler Robinson that's been charged with the shooting of Charlie Kirk?
Yes.
And would you say when you first met Tyler?
I think it was 2023. I've known him longer than that, though. That was, I think,
be good out there, Brother Beaker. We always appreciate you.
the first time I met him in person.
Okay. And will you describe your relationship with Tyler when you first met him anyway?
When I first met him, I didn't know him super well. He was just a new roommate. So I knew he knew my friend group, and I knew he liked playing games, but that's about it when we first, when he first moved in.
Okay.
The answer, Kurt, is yes.
Before we go on, I realized my mic was muted at the outset. Was yours on, your microphone? Okay.
Yeah, they're doubled up, but nonetheless, okay. So he admits that they were a thing, and he says that, Robinson actually spilled the beans to him about it. But nonetheless, we're not going to play the whole that whole confession or whatever you guys want to call the immunity aspect or testimony. That's the word I was looking for. Okay, let me go ahead and bring this up quickly on the same topic though. Is this?
Welcome back and live now from Fox. I'm your host.
Or we may have the specifics here.
It is day 4 of the preliminary hearing of Tyler Robinson, the man accused of murdering Charlie Kirk. A live look right now outside of the courthouse there in Utah, where that preliminary hearing has been underway. Some new evidence in the
and we should know somewhat, maybe an answer if they're going to actually go forward trying him. We should know maybe by today. They originally said it would be a week-long ordeal, for the week, a 5-day whatever. And so today is theoretically the 5th day now? Yeah, 5th day now.
Preliminary hearing for Tyler Robinson emerged today. The court finally heard a pre-recorded interview between prosecutors and Robinson.
Because this was from yesterday afternoon.
Former lover and roommate. Now, prosecutors have spent the last several days laying out the evidence that they believe connects Robinson to the fatal shooting of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, while the defense has been working to challenge that evidence every step of the way. Today, a main focus was that recorded.
What's up, Claire? My man, good morning.
Interview with Robinson's former partner, Lance Twiggs, after the judge ruled that parts of that video could be played in court, while other parts remain redacted.
So Twiggs, I thought it was Lance Twix, but Lance Twiggs.
The judge also ruled that Robinson and Twiggs' Discord messages can be shown in court. So a lot of developments today, and joining us now to help break down everything that we've learned and what this could mean moving forward is Utah criminal defense attorney Greg Skordas. Thanks so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox.
Glad to be here.
So, we saw portions of Lance Twiggs' pre-recorded interview where he says Tyler Robinson told him in person that he regrets the shooting. How significant was that moment from a legal standpoint?
Oh, that's a huge testimony right there, because Robinson is playing the case, you got the wrong guy. I may look like that, whatever the case is, but I just happen to be there at the wrong time kind of thing where they thought it was me. And that's it. So this proves obviously otherwise.
Well, I mean, if there was any doubt about what happened, the state just put on what they would call a confession, and that's a pretty compelling piece of evidence. I mean, I was a prosecutor for 8 years, and I've been on the other side for 38 years, and that's about as strong evidence as you can get in a criminal case is a confession. And so when Tyler Robinson tells someone close to him, in this case, his lover,
his ex-lover. What's up, Dragon Classy? Good morning to you. Great to see you in the chat.
His best friend, that he did something, that would be a very strong piece of evidence that the state would use. In fact, I'm a little bit surprised that they're continuing to put on.
Oh, shit, man. I fucked up again. Brother VC sending in a Cash App a while ago, by the way. I missed it by a long shot. So he's gonna laugh at me because he loves when I fucking miss his shit. But luckily I didn't miss it completely. Not today. He sends in $5 for the Gay Atolla barbecue. The Gay Atolla barbecue. That shit is way too funny. When he said Gay Atolla, and I was like, oh my God.
On evidence for the preliminary hearing because they probably established what they need at this point, which is just a very low level, what we call.
Yes, actually, that signifies a great fuck up. That we all need to embrace our fuck ups.
Don't beat yourself up over past mistakes. You are going to fuck up again in the future, quite possibly in a most spectacular fashion. Why worry about yesterday's fuck ups when you have tomorrow's fuck ups to look forward to? You are a fuck up, and fucking up is part of your growth process. Embrace the process.
We always will embrace the process. Listen, no one's too good to embrace the process. I'm telling you. That's how we roll out here.
Cause.
And we have this post coming from Fox News talking about the text evidence. We'll get to that in a moment, but I want to talk about the introduction of the Discord messages where Tyler Robinson appears to tell his friends it was me, and then even points them to surveillance photos. I mean, how powerful is evidence like that? What are prosecutors going to have to do to, make sure those messages are authentic?
Well, what they need to do, because right now we're at a preliminary hearing stage, Anna, and so what we allow is what's called hearsay, and those are hearsay statements. They're a person who interviewed his roommate, Lance Twiggs.
Okay, so I'm going to let him finish up what he's saying here, and then we're going to move on. We're not going to continue going down this road. We already know exactly what basically happened, and that's what matters here, is that Tyler Robinson admitted that he regretted to that ex-lover that he regretted doing the shooting of Charlie Kirk.
Got this information, and they're using that in evidence. So at court, at trial, I should say, in front of a jury, they'll have to bring in that individual. They'll have to bring in the people that were parties to those communications. They'll have to bring in the roommate so that the defense can cross-examine it, because that's what's allowed under the Constitution. You don't have that same right to confrontation and cross-examination at a preliminary hearing. So it's good evidence for the prelim, but at the trial.
Right. It's good evidence for this aspect, but in trial, it could be questioned.
They'll need the live witnesses to come in and testify and be subject to cross-examination.
Now, we saw text messages between Robinson and Twiggs. They were read aloud today, where Robinson describes where his rifle is and how he's trying to retrieve that. How much stronger does that make the prosecution's case?
All right. We already understand that it does make it stronger on the prosecution. Okay, let's get into, we've been covering this story about Plattner over there in Maine. Maine Democrats scrambled to replace Plattner as dropout deadline looms. And yes, I mean, they're about to have this election up there very, very soon. I think it's within a week and a half or something, 2 weeks or something. And so the Democrats are freaking out right now, trying to figure out what they're going to do in that aspect, even though their own party was the one that basically forced him to give up his campaign. So I don't know. It's like the Democrats love shooting themselves in the foot.
Welcome back into live now from Fox.
Unintended, by the way.
It's a mad.
Real quick, we got Book of RLM in the building. Shout out to you. Hopefully you're enjoying your Felony Friday. So far, we definitely are. Great to see you in the chat. Good morning.
Scramble in Maine after the Senate candidate on the Democrat side, Graham Plattner, officially withdrawing from the race. Democrats now embarking on the search to replace him. It's a process with no clear rule book, but one with heavy political implications ahead of November as the control of the Senate hangs in the balance in the midterms. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera has the latest from Washington, D.C.
Honestly, I thought the Democrats would have loved that shit, Blair.
The Graham Plattner saga is over in Maine after the controversial candidate withdrew from the race Wednesday night, weighed down by new allegations of
What's up, Tootie Bug? Great to see you as well. Good morning. Good morning.
sexual assault.
Happy Friday.
Allies and donors were swiftly abandoning Plattner, but he maintains his exit is not an admission of guilt.
I just want to make it clear, this is all false. The things that have been claimed did not happen.
Now the Democratic Party,
Because he is under a sexual assault, whatever the allegation.
faces the task of replacing him on the November midterm ballot. A number of candidates have already signaled they intend to run, including former Maine Senate President Troy Jackson, who Plattner endorsed in what was an unsuccessful campaign for governor.
Short timeline, obviously money and all that is going to be a challenge, but I definitely think it's doable because the message, the movement is right, and that's what's important.
Maine Democrats have tentatively signed off on a new nominating convention led by around 600 delegates who will make the decision.
In the next less than 2 weeks, we need to put together what we typically have a full professional team do in 6 to 8 months.
Despite the scandals, Plattner's campaign reflected a national trend of voters choosing progressive candidates over more moderate establishment Democrats.
Can someone do me a favor and look up when Maine's primary is going to be supposed to be held?
A trend he hopes to see continue with his successor.
The process needs to assure that what comes next is reflective of the Mainers who on June 9th turned out and showed that they are desperate for a different kind of politics.
The party has until July 27th to name a new nominee. In Washington, Val Rivera.
So they have until the 27th, which is what, 17 days from now? So their primary is got to be somewhat soon.
Fox News.
Almost too many different candidates pushing forward, jockeying to replace Plattner at this moment to take on Republican Susan Collins come November. And this comes.
Yes, we are officially in overtime. You know what they say, no tax on tips, no tax on OT. Make sure you guys send in your freaking money. Absolutely.
All right, just get the money part done.
Give me money. Money me. Money now. Me a money needing a lot now.
Speaking of the devil, we got Brother So Loud coming in with the 10 spot. My man, thank you so much. He says, let's get that overtime pay in. Absolutely. You know we're getting down with our bad selves in some OT today. We do definitely got a little bit of OT to get through today. So,
days after that initial Politico report out there, allegations of sexual assault, and Politico on social media talking about this, Graham Plattner ending his Maine Senate bid. Democrats widely abandoned him after a Politico report that a woman alleges he forced her to have sex with him, which he denies. And also,
now apparently this accusation is from 21, so 5 years ago, but she didn't say anything up until this election, which, you know, we know how accusations can go too. So anyways, let's go ahead and move on into some interesting news here. There's this report that came out this morning about 2 hours ago. This report that says Iran assassination plot targets Trump. Now we already know that. We already showed the evidence of, I mean, they even said they're giving out $100 million for Trump's assassination, essentially. So, let's go ahead and bring this up quickly. We're not going to stir on this for too long. We still got to get into the Spain wildfire that is happening as of like an hour ago.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome.
30 minutes ago or so. No, it was about an hour ago. It was right before we started the show.
Here on Live Now from Fox, the time is 7:55 if you are joining us over on the East Coast and 4:55 on the West Coast. My name is Josh Breslow, and I'll be here with you for the next several hours as we continue to cover all of your top stories and live events from across the country and the world. A big thank you to my colleague, Bowen Kadrovich. He has been here with you doing the same for the past several hours.
Much love,
right
Jack.
now, on the right-hand side of your screen, taking a live look over the Strait of Hormuz. Not as much activity as we saw just a few weeks ago, but things appear to...
Yeah, and even then, it wasn't the proper activity. It was still like halfway point, if not even like 40%. And really, it was still, I would say I would consider it closed, but they allowed certain ships to go through. It was very kind of selected on that aspect. You had to give like a 48-hour heads up before you made any type of move and get approval and all that stuff. So it wasn't actually open, but there is less traffic now in these days right now, because this is just this morning live AIS, and there's basically no activity going on.
Moving ever so slowly through the strait here. As we get to the latest on the U.S.-Iran conflict, I want to pop this up on your screen right here, coming in from U.S. Central Command, as they say that they are disputing claims by the Iranian state media that Iran is in control of the strait. CENTCOM posting this on social media.
Well, because the Iranian state media is going to do their propaganda to their people. And then, of course, U.S. Central Command is going, okay, this is your claim. This is the truth, right?
It says claim. Iranian state media claims that transit through the Strait of Hormuz is only permitted through routes designated by Iran. The truth? Iran does not control the Strait of Hormuz. Since early May, U.S. forces have helped facilitate the successful transit of more than 800 commercial vessels and 380 million barrels of crude oil through the vital international trade corridor. Now, there's also other developments that are coming into the newsroom here as we follow those. Take a look right here from the Wall Street Journal, as they say Israel has shared new intelligence with the U.S. that it said indicated a fresh Iranian plan to kill.
Which would, what they mean by Israel shared new intelligence with the United States, they're talking about Mossad in particular.
President Trump.
Mossad is heavy in Iran right now. I mean, you would think otherwise, but Mossad is heavy right now in Iran.
People familiar with that matter telling the Wall Street Journal about that, and that would, of course, mark an escalation in the war between the U.S. and
What's up, Agrillipus? Good morning.
Iran. Again, there is always a lot to discuss here, so I do want to bring in our buddy Mark Chandler. He is, of course, with Coastal Carolina University, joining us live to break down all of the developments there out of the Middle East. Mark, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us.
You're welcome, Josh, and thanks for having me today.
Of course. And first off, I want to start by talking to you about this Israeli intelligence, as, again, we are hearing from the Wall Street Journal, other sources reporting this as well, but essentially saying that Israel had this intelligence that Iran had a new plot to assassinate President Trump. Break down for me really the situation that's kind of been developing since the death there, the killing of Soleimani. That's when pretty much all of this really began.
Yes, of course.
No, and that's an excellent point that you bring up there, Josh. This dates back to 2020 when the U.S. killed Qasem Soleimani, who was the head of the IRGC and the Quds Force. So he really basically exported terrorism for Iran across the entire Middle East.
What's up, Charlie Rose, by the way? I hope I said good morning to you earlier, but if I didn't, it's hard to keep up with everybody
sometimes.
sometimes.
The U.S. took him out. So what we've seen is Iran vowed to kill the president, President Trump, since that time. And there have been renewed plots. But I think what you're seeing develop now is a continuation, but a re-emphasis based on the war with Iran currently. Now, Israel, what we would do in intelligence is look at the sources and try to validate this. Israel has excellent access inside Iran, even to this date. So the Mossad's working there. They're getting information. They found it credible enough to
see, I was just telling you guys that Mossad is heavily still in Iran right now.
Report to the United States, and the United States is working through this and also finds it credible. So those are key points that we need to bring out in evaluating this threat to the president as a continuation, but as a renewed emphasis to
absolutely. You be good out there, Kurt. We'll see on
take
the
out the president. If we recall, he was at the NATO summit in Turkey, and Turkey doesn't have the best border security. So a small team could easily infiltrate through Turkey, bring some shoulder-fired SAMs. That's easy to smuggle through the mountain passes out there and attempt to go after Air Force One. And I believe that's why you saw the president take out the original Air Force, fly out on the original Air Force One earlier this week. It's got better defensive mechanisms I don't really want to go into here, but suffice to say, more secure to get him out there. Just because he's back here in America, Josh, doesn't mean he's completely safe and the threat can be taken off the table. Iran will work through proxies or assets it has here in the United States to continue this threat.
And as you said, here on U.S. soil, you know that we have all of that security around him, Secret Service, other agencies that are watching him constantly. But again, there have been several assassination attempts against him, not necessarily saying that Iran was behind those, but also important to note. Now,
I was looking to see if they were going to show any of the images that I showed you guys earlier regarding the $100 million reward for Trump's assassination from Iran's standpoint. But unfortunately, they did not. But I already showed that for you guys. So we're going to move on into this Spain wildfire. 12 are already being reported dead and 23 are missing. So let's go ahead and bring this up. It doesn't show how much it's been contained. They don't show how many acres have been on fire or any of that stuff. They don't show any of that. So we're going to, hopefully this report will show it. Now, also, little side note, I know there's a lot of chaos going around the world, but make sure you guys hit that like button, double tap this screen if you're on the vertical side. Not for the craziness, but for me and what we're doing here. So thank you for that.
My name is Josh Breslow, and we continue to cover this breaking news coming in internationally out of Spain, where at least 12 people have now been confirmed dead, and 23 others, at the very least, are still missing after one of the deadliest wildfires to take place there in Spain. And you are taking a live look here at some of those images that are coming in at this hour. Now, we know that several victims of the fire in a southern province there, which is a popular holiday destination, were found inside burned out vehicles and were thought to have died while trying to get away from those flames. 8 people have been injured and a further 23 are considered unaccounted for. The regional leader saying that some 150 firefighters and 220 soldiers from Spain's military emergency unit were battling that fire, which has now consumed about 7,900 acres of forest and farmland, and that number only expected to rise. Regional emergency authorities said that 4 British nationals and other unspecified foreign nationals appear to be among the dead. We have not heard from the U.S. State Department as to whether anyone who's missing or has died is actually from the U.S. We'll, of course, keep you updated there. But the fire broke out in a hamlet in a semi-arid area in the mountain area, and authorities have not confirmed the cause, but said that people who called to report the fire said that a fallen power line had sparked a blaze that spread rapidly into a nearby forest.
Damn.
Most of the victims died while,
That's crazy. I'm always fascinated how fires start, and it's surprising to me that down power lines doesn't happen even more often, and then of course setting fires. But this one happened to be one of those that did.
Attempting to flee and ignored the shelter-in-place instructions.
What's up, brother Sterling? My man. Good morning to you.
To the emergency services in the
Happy
area.
Friday.
One group did so via a dry riverbed, which, quote, turned into a death trap. Again, officials saying that. 7 people died while on foot after abandoning their cars, likely looking for some kind of way out. The Spanish Prime Minister expressed his condolences, writing on X, quote, immense sadness and desolation in the face of the terrible consequences of the fire affecting the province of Almeria. Spain.
You know, I really didn't catch if was the case, but it kind of sounded like it. It sounded from the small parts that I'm picking up, it did sound like that there were homes involved, but maybe there wasn't. But there are people, unfortunately, 12 dead and now 23 missing. And then, of course, that's not showing the injured people either.
Has battled frequent and severe heat waves in recent years, with temperatures often exceeding about 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Wind, high temperatures, and a little rainfall there help small wildfires grow into unchecked blazes that burn out of control. In June, Spain experienced several days of record-setting heat with over 1,000 excess deaths attributed to...
Yeah, over there in Europe and all of that region, I mean, they're going through a very, very like a heat storm. I mean, just going through it right now. It's crazy the amount of people that went out looking for ACs, fans, all that stuff. Like Costco level department stores were selling like big ACs and stuff like at the front door, like out of like a Black Friday event. But it's not Black Friday. It's just a day in Europe because I don't know, a lot of those countries over there, they don't need AC really. I mean, they just, some parts of the year they're uncomfortable. That's the way they kind of chop it up. But now that there's a super heat wave, the grid's going to be used heavily. You know, people are going to be going out and getting ACs and shit like that, putting a burden onto their grid that they're not necessarily used to either.
Heat. Again, at last check here, officials over in Spain saying this is now one of Spain's deadliest wildfires on record, killing 12 people overnight.
Wow. So they're saying this is the deadliest Spain fire that they've ever had. Wow.
With about 23 others still considered unaccounted for. We'll keep you updated here on this developing story, this breaking news, as we continue to get more information.
Yeah, it's very true, Blair. We do believe in AC. That's for damn sure. I mean, right now, we're in my house. It is 65 degrees. That's what it is right now. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, I can't thank each and every single one of you guys enough. Obviously, I cannot do this shit without you guys and your support, your engagement, monetarily, you know, all these things go a long way. So thank you guys for hitting the like button either on the way in or the way out. Double tapping that screen if you guys are on the vertical side. Listen, stick around. We're going to be rating our buddy Chatting with Stacks. He's live right now. Make sure you guys let him know. We're coming through with the Mike Balls / Insane Wheels raid. And listen, we're going to be back tomorrow morning for members only, as you guys know. So make sure if you guys got a gifted membership this week or whatever, make sure you guys show up on Saturday, tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. We have a good time. Anyways, we'll see you guys very soon. God bless you guys. Enjoy your weekend. Be safe out there. And much respect to everybody. Be safe.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire burning in his soul, with a heart of steel and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels, ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with, fueled by the power that only metal can bestow. He takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane.